Hello and good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to the second episode of this week on the Visibility Vibes Tribe Challenge. On the Visibility Vibes, Visibility Made Easy. Sorry, I almost forgot myself. So my name's Jenny Kovacs, and if you've never met me before, never heard of me before, I'm known as the Queen of Being Seen. My thing is all around your visibility. So tonight we're going to be exploring the power of stories. Now, on the face of it, this could seem like something that people talk about all the time. So I'm looking at you here, but I'm also looking down here, and the reason for that is that every now and then Facebook has some fun with us, and I go to look at your comments, I go to look at your love hearts and your thumbs up, and they disappear. So by doing what I'm doing now, I get to see you, I get to acknowledge you, I get to engage with you, and I get to see the lovely comments that you share. So just bear with me because I've got a funny thing going on in my screen here. Okay, I see what's happened. My computer is hanging, and because my computer is hanging, I don't get to see you. So I can see that people are on there, but I can't necessarily see that you can see me or hear me. So I am just going to share something, and just while I do this, I'm going to make a quick announcement. And the announcement is that if you look up there, you'll see that there's a free online event with the lovely Brenda Gabriel, who is the business change or the change maker for businesses, and she is absolutely phenomenal when it comes to PR, when it comes to marketing your business, when it comes to getting yourself out there. So here's how this works. You can see me, but I can't see you. I can see numbers sometimes counting up at the top of the page, and other times I can't. So if you are on, and if you want me to include you in some of the examples that I give, just type your name, let me know what type of business you have, or what type of business you want to start, or what type of business you want to transform into, and I'll try to incorporate this to make this useful time for us, for both of us. You've taken the time to show up here, so I want to take the time to make this as absolutely phenomenally useful as I can do. So just checking my screen, and tonight is all around activating your story. What does that mean? Now, I'm sure you've heard lots about people, talking about using your story, talking about sharing your story in business. And I know that one of the biggest barriers to doing that is sometimes it feels like it's too personal a story. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it's exciting enough a story. Sometimes we don't know how a story that we share has got anything to do with our business. And if you're anything like many of the lovely visibility vibers that are in my community, and many of the clients that I work with, and many of the people that I speak to around visibility, it's likely that you have many stories. It's likely that you're not sure which one to pick or what to do. So I can see numbers. If you can hear me okay, could you just give me like a thumbs up or a love heart so I know that you can actually hear? I had some trouble connecting before, and I'm a little nervous that all you can see is my lips going but not hear me, which would be really gross if that was the case. So let's just have a look. So I'm just going to share this with the lovely visibility vibers as well, so that they know. It's been really busy in the group. If you wonder what I mean when I talk about visibility vibers, I have a lovely Facebook group called the Visibility Vibes Tribe. It's full of really juicy, I can see a comment, full of really juicy people, including France Lees that says, "Good evening." And these people are the warmest bunch of people you're likely to meet. You've all got a common goal in mind, and that's to become even more visible, because I recognise that some of you already are out there in the world. And if you know of other people that need to be seen, to be heard, maybe they're looking to speak to clients, maybe they work in the same industry as you or totally different industry. The sorts of people that really get great value from this are people who offer a service or sell a product. So it might be that they are coaches or consultants. Maybe they're offering a service that can't be seen. You know, the lovely France Lees is an osteopath extraordinaire, I have to say. So the service that she offers is the promise that she will help you to be able to resolve any health issues you have. However, you can't see that when you speak to her. The other types of people that really get value from this, I'm currently working with a client who sells a natural skincare product range, but I've previously also worked with retail businesses, and one such business was a high-end retail business. So their products sold for anything between £600 to £4,000. So many of these people will get great value. So if you know of someone that said, like, one day I'd like to go and open a bed and breakfast in the country, but they're not there yet, get them to come along, get them to start to think about how they can become more visible to their audience. So I'm just going to ask you, if you are watching this and you can share this, please do share this with anyone that you think would be interested in watching it live or watching it on the replay. So let's get started. Personal stories. Well, what on earth has that got to do with visibility, and why share a personal story? So quite often we as business owners, especially those of us who are passionate about what we do, we are so entrenched and passionate about how we help people, what we share in the world. And it's interesting because I shared earlier on another Facebook Live, sometimes we can get really ranty. And the reason we get ranty is because we're so passionate about what we do. But when we sometimes go through that rant, or we're annoyed with something that isn't happening in a way that we really want it to be and want to see it in the world, what can often happen is that we can be passionate, but we don't take people along with us. You know, so like every day I show up and do these Monday to Friday, and I've been doing them since I got back from my lovely holiday in Costa Rica. So I've been doing that consistently since the beginning of the year, yet there are still some people that join on that haven't watched before, haven't seen these before. And if I forget to tell them why I'm so passionate about what I do, they don't know. That leaves them to make a presumption. So when you share your story or stories within your business, your aspirations as to why you've discovered something works better, it includes people along. And already we've got France Lees on, so I'm going to say hi to Ian. Ian's saying hi, or hi to France Lees. France Lees is saying hi to Ivona, who's on. I can see there's a couple more people on, but unless you tell me who you are, I don't know that you're here. So thank you for coming, thank you for watching, and I'm happy for you to sit in the background if that's feels good to you too. So it's really important for us to share our personal story. Now, at this point, before I even go any further in, can you think about a personal story that might be relevant for your business? You don't need to tell me what it is, but if you can think of a personal story that could be relevant, or stories, just give me a thumbs up across the screen, just so that I know that you're with me. Now, if you're sitting there and you're struggling to think of, I've got some love hearts. If you're sitting there and you're struggling to think of how you can use a personal story in your business, I would like to issue you with a challenge right here, right now. Hey, Beata's on the line. Hi, Beata. Oh, by the way, if you're wondering about the plaster on the thumb, it's not that I've got a big white shiny nail. I just caught my nail a bit far down, and it keeps catching on things. Hey, it's Namisha. Namisha, you're being visible tonight. I love it. Thank you for coming. So if you have if you ever catch your nail down there and you don't want to keep snagging all of your jumpers, scratching everybody that you hug, and getting your finger caught in your hair, then put a plaster on it. That stops it from causing too much problem. So our personal stories. Thank you for those of you that have just done love hearts and thumbs up. It's not actually painful, it's just, it is when I catch it on something. But I'm just concerned that I've had this plaster, not the same one, I keep changing it a couple of times a day, but just to stop me from snagging things. So, our personal stories. So you know why that's important. Some of you may have already identified that you have a story that's yet to be shared. If anyone is stuck and they live on this Facebook Live now, which is only going to go on for another 10 minutes or so, if you want to be able to ask me live on this, how to use your personal story as part of what you do, I need you to type into the box not the whole kit and caboodle, but what the story is. So, for example, you know, I fell over and cut my knee when I was 5. I am now a healer. And we can look at how we change that. Even if the story that, when I said, have you got a personal story? Hey, Ali says, hi everyone, sorry I'm late. And Ivona says she's got a dodgy nail like mine. We should become the plaster gang. If you're thinking to yourself, well, when you said that, I just had a story flash up in my mind, just put a one line to what the story is, and then put a one line for what your business is. I'm a consultant, you know, business consultant. I work with animals, you know, I work with broken down cars. I work with people's web systems, or whatever that thing is. And I will attempt to, live on air, just be able to craft that story, because it's something that I'm really great at doing. So let me give you some examples of some past clients, because I want you to be able to place yourself in this. There was the client that I worked with that from a very, very young age was taught a really special craft by their grandmother. They loved it so much at 4 years old that they grew up to use that craft some 30 odd years later in what they do now. We have the lady that had really bad skin. Everything she tried, even the stuff for sensitive skin, wasn't really helping her skin at all, until she started to look at natural therapies, natural remedies, and decided, you know what, if everything I'm trying isn't working, I'm going to just, you know, create my own stuff to put on my skin. So Namisha says, I got made redundant from my first job that I loved, and now I help people turn their passion into businesses. Okay, so Namisha, does that mean that you're putting your hand up to be used as an example? And if so, then let's riff. Let's start to show you how you can use this. So the story of redundancy is a really, really great one. Because it's not just about being made redundant. And, you know, I empathise and know how that feels, Namisha, because she says, yes, ma'am, bless her. Am I coming across bossy? Do I need to stop doing that with my eyes? Say hi to the folks, to your Ellies as well, Namisha. So, something that happens now, let me give you an example of like a personal story that I can use, given the example that Namisha's given there. So I remember back in 1980, late 88, 89, I was working for the high street chain. In fact, I won't say who the high street chain is, but it's a very well-known high street chain. And they made a big raft of redundancies. Now, on the face of it, a redundancy looks like you being made, your position no longer being needed by the company. But I know firsthand what that can bring up. I was 19 years old when I was first made redundant, and then I went on to get another job quite quickly, and then was made redundant again. In fact, in the space of 4 years, I was made redundant 3 times. I have to say that I'm really thankful and really grateful that that happened at such a young age for me. I was still like early 20s by the time those redundancies had gone through. And the reason that I'm grateful for that is, as you get older, sometimes you know more in life, you learn more in life, and the story that you make in your head about what a redundancy means can be really catastrophic. So on the face of it, a redundancy might be a story of just simply, and I use the word just in a really sort of glib way, but just losing your job. But for some people, you have Ali on the line here, and Ali really helps people with reinvention. It's not just about, oh, well, I haven't got a job now, I need to find another one. Sometimes it's all the stuff that comes with it. There's all the stuff around the emotions you feel, sometimes about the confidence that can be knocked, sometimes wondering whether the company were just trying to get you out on your ear, wondering why, you know, and I've certainly experienced this, wondering why the people that were seemingly rubbish at their jobs managed to keep their jobs and you didn't. Wondering if there's an ulterior motive, wondering if it was something that you did, wondering whether it was your boss didn't like you. And I know I've certainly coached people that have been through these kind of life-changing experiences. One particular gentleman I remember just said, I can't handle this, I needed to reprogram my brain. So in a story, it's really, really important to, when you are talking about your business and how you help people. So let's take Namisha. Now, Namisha really helps creative people. So she helps creative businesses, and she's really passionate about entrepreneurship and businesses. So she does help people. She helps them to turn their passions into businesses, and she's very successful at this. She has 3 businesses herself, I think 3. So she's really, really passionate about this. But using Namisha as the example, let's say that you are out there looking for more clients, looking for more people to work with. If you don't tell that your story, people won't even get why you're the person to go to. People won't even understand why they need to seek you out. And more importantly, people won't have any understanding of what you do. And because they don't have any understanding of what you do, they'll just dismiss you and go to the next person who might not be the great fit for them or the great choice. So if you have been through redundancy and you know in the back of your head, as I said at the beginning of this Facebook Live, you've been the person that says, I've always wanted to open my own B&B down in the country, then Namisha is definitely your girl. Not only because she can help you take that passion and make it into a business, and I would add a profitable business at that, but also because she's been there, so she understands the undercurrent of redundancy, what that can bring emotionally on a bigger level, what it can do to your belief system, and like so many other levels as well. Does that make sense? So that's a great example to use. We've got Ivona that says not having a strong voice in a relationship. Now, here's the thing about stories. You often think that your story has to be, I was broken in a million pieces on the floor, and then I saw a crack of light through the ceiling and it gave me the power to get up and walk. And whilst that's true for some people and true compelling stories, the way that Ivona might connect with people is telling the story of what not having a strong voice in a relationship actually means or actually does. So there's a bigger piece that I don't unfortunately have time to delve into the nuances here. It's something that I like to spend time with on the person, because I like them just to blurt out the story. I love to pull out the threads of that story. So not only does it serve their story for their client, and not only does it serve their visibility, it enables them to let their people see the value of that. So not only now do they have a strong and compelling story, or a few more, which some people have, they now have a reason for other people to take notice, making them visible. And it also means that they can sell their value and services. But what it also means is that if somebody isn't for you, they can identify that with that really quickly, and then go on to, who they do need and what they do need. Okay, does that make sense? If it does, give me a thumbs up or a love heart. If it doesn't, type in the box, what? With lots of A's in it, and I will go through and delve deeper. So Namisha's saying that she likes Bossy Jenny, and she's also saying hi to everyone. Beata says, I can so relate to that. I can totally. Different things every time, but I remember the last time I was made redundant, I was fortunate enough to be working in financial services, and so I was able to get a bit more time off. Got a huge packet and hugely taxed as well, but I was able to take a bit more time off to think about what I wanted to do. I thought I was okay, I thought I was a bit down, and it's like one day a bolt out of the blue really hit me, like sideswiped me. And I went through a phase of, oh my gosh, what if I can never get a job as good as this? What if I can never be happy as work as well as this? What if nobody ever wants to employ me again? Now, France Lee's is an osteopath. I give her the term osteopath, but she's much more than that. France Lee's, from the job that she does, she is not just an osteopath. Yes, she works with pain and does other things like that. But can you imagine if all those years ago, when I was going through this trauma, because when you're not voicing it and speaking out, you're holding it in your mouth, in your throat, in your digestive system, in your body, there are repercussions of what could happen to me medically and physically from holding that stuff in. Out in the world, we call it signs of stress. But for people that undergo prolonged stress, there's all the hormones that flood your body that shouldn't be, that can cause nasties, like further down the line. Working with somebody like France Lees, for example, can help to unleash those. So, for example, I heard France Lees explaining a story about kind of physical pain in the body. and how it's affected people so badly in the past that they've lost their jobs, lost their homes, lost their relationships. So if Francelise was to be, sharing a story where she was able to help somebody who kind of like almost manifested this disease because of all the stuff that they've gone through that stemmed from a redundancy, it would certainly make her visible. Now, she's not claiming that she will stop you from feeling bad after redundancy, but she's starting to share her story. Why? Because she might be able to relate to that story herself. She might have had a member of the family that's related to that story. She might have even had clients who were just about to get in there but stopped it, or got in there and, was really ill or whatever. She's able to share that story. But the problem is not a lot of people know how to share their stories. So it's one of those pieces, and that's not everyone's story. Not everyone has started off being broke and then making their millions. Not everyone has started off being really sick and healing their bodies. Not everybody has been invisible and then going on to be visible. So it really is an important piece for you to be able to share your story. And I've got a few notes down here that I am going to cover. I'm just going to first check your comments. If you're watching this, by the way, on the replay, because one of these lovely vibers has shared this with you, please feel free to play along and type your comments. If it's the middle of the night, I might not answer, but I will be sure to answer any time that I see the notification that you've left a message. If what you want to share is a little bit more private, or you want to know how I can personally help you to draw out that story, I've actually got a couple of spots on the 2nd of March and on the 3rd of March. So that's the Thursday and the Friday. They're half-day spots, and I'd love to be able to support you live in the flesh. We sit together in the same room, normally drinking tea and eating cake or doing something nice, where we pull out that story. But I'd like to support you before we go into that container and afterwards. And that is something that if you're really interested in doing, please send me a message. Up there somewhere there'll be send message to Jenny. There is a charge for it. I can't do everything complimentary, but I promise you that I will listen to your story, pull out the strands, and show you how not only you can put that into your story that you share, that can become like the kingpin of your videos, or the kingpin of the content that you're writing, or the underpinning of the Facebook Lives that you do, or for those of you that are sharing your story or sharing your business with like local business groups, it can become something that you underpin within your business, so that people really get why you're the person they need. So Francelise says, very, very fortunate. I've never been made redundant, alhamdulillah. I hope that's how you pronounce it. I remember my time in Morocco and we used to say alhamdulillah. Great learnings come from all life challenges. We all served what is going on to help us grow. We are, but sometimes we don't get that. It feels very painful, it feels not fair. And some of the people that we work with, especially people, I think of like Ali, your people, will not be saying, oh, well, this is a blessing in disguise. It's a bit like when someone comes up to us and says, cheer up, love, it may never happen. And you just want to smack them round the face and tell them to go away. We really need, as people helping people, to be able to meet them where you are. And that's where the bridge of stories come in. And we can sometimes, and I've done it myself, be a little bit unwittingly patronising to the person by saying, hey, it's a gift in ugly wrapping, which, for any of you that know me or have seen my personal story, that's just one of my personal stories. I decided to go public and share that story on the 8th of December last year. I received hundreds of comments under my own personal share, and that's just one of my stories. And the thing that touched me most was I received messages from women, mainly women, a couple of guys as well, but mainly women from all over the world. People that I didn't know, people that had seen the message and been touched by it and shared it on with other people. So that's the power of a story. It really connects with people. It allows you to acknowledge that you know where they are. It allows you to connect with them on a level where they know that you're the person that they want to speak to, and it also allows you to engage with them. For some people it might be a case of, okay, I've now watched this video, thank you so much, I've got what I needed and I'll move on. And for other people it might be a case of an invitation for them to come and work more deeply with you. So Francie says, oh Jenny, I do love you so much for saying that. Because I was flapping my gums, Francelise, I don't know what it is that I've said, but I love you too. You are a gem on this earth. So, and you also say very well said. I think it was about the sickness from the body. I don't know. Either way, I'm gratefully receiving and graciously receiving. So, here are my notes for tonight. So a couple of things that I would love you to think about, and I'd love you to share here. If it feels a little bit too public to share here, there's always the Visibility Vibes Tribe group where, my gosh, even through doing this, I can see ping, 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 ping of notifications where you guys are sharing, you're asking your questions, you're being open to receiving, and I absolutely adore and love that. So thank you. So think about these things. What led you to create what you do? Get behind that passion. And it's interesting because I had a conversation with Ali last week. Ali is an awesome coach, really is an awesome coach. And it wasn't last week, it was a week before, where she asked me what made me get out of bed in the mornings. And a lot of my drivers are for you guys, for the results that you get, for the light bulb moments you get. And I'll be honest with you, when I get your messages, like your messages, your emails, even when like clients have rung me and said, do you realise that when you taught me this, I actually received this, this and this, my first reaction is to cry. It touches me so deeply. So I feel on the surface, like using my common sense, that I'm driven by the results that you get, the things that you do that make you get great results. But actually, when I looked under the surface of it, the other side of the coin, the bit that, like, if I was having, say I'd had 2 hours sleep and you were like, Jenny, wake up, it's time to go to work, I'd be pretty excited about that. But if you said this part to me, I would spring out of bed. Jenny, if you don't get up and show people how to be visible in a really easy way for them, then that's fine. I'll recommend them for someone else calling themselves a visibility specialist. They've been doing it for a few months, they've been doing it for a year or two. And they'll be able to help them. I would be flying out of bed, not because I have anything against other visibility specialists, but because I've been like outwardly teaching visibility techniques very, very easily, from whether you speak them, whether you write them, or whether you record them on your screen, overtly since 2012. But actually, before I even started my business 2 years before that, I was actually doing it corporately. People were getting promoted, and here's my story. I wanted to advance my career. I wanted to raise amongst the ranks, but I didn't have a degree. Do you know how hard it is to get into corporate England, especially the financial services, and prove your worth when you don't have a degree? But you know what? And I'm going to tell the story in this way. Somehow I went from one job, I worked for people like the Abbey National, I worked for a company that was later on owned by the Lehman Brothers, and I also worked for a commercial mortgage company before I went into financial services in group risk insurance. Now, I was a senior level manager by the time I got to the commercial mortgage company. Why? What happened? If you'd asked me back then, I would have said, I don't know. I just got out there. What made a woman like me, of colour, as you guys say in America, in the UK, of very humble beginnings with no degree, able to rise from earning like, you know, sort of 22 grand a year to going into like close to the 90 grand a year? What enabled me to do that? And at the time, I just thought, well, it was the way that I conduct myself in business. It was my drive, my ambition. It was only after that redundancy and well into the other job, when I contemplated starting a business, that I started to look at, well, how did I do that? And it was only when I decided to claim the throne of the Queen of Being Seen, the person that will take ultimate responsibility for helping you to be visible, to be seen, to be heard, to be noticed, that I had to sit down, and I couldn't do it by myself. I had to sit and work with a coach, with a mentor who could like let me look backwards and join the dots up. I realised that there were certain things I did, and here's the 5 things I did. I made sure that I was always visible, and always visible in the right way for my environment. I made sure that I always made an impact, not in people's faces, not forceful, but made the sort of impact that gave a really great lasting impression. I made sure that whether it was the post room boy or the CEO of a brokerage firm or even the MD of my company, I was always able to articulate my value of what I did. I didn't so successfully make sure that I didn't burn out. I didn't burn out, but I span a lot of plates. So I later on in my entrepreneurial life worked out how not to get exhausted with overwhelm, how not to spin so many plates that I didn't have a home life or a family life, because I had to learn from that ugly mistake. But I also learned how to sell myself as a person, how to sell like their products, well, you know, very expensive products, and how to help other people, so their sales and marketing team, to sell their products. Now, all of that sounds easy and I've been able to say it in a nutshell, but the journey or the path for me to get there was a lot of I don't know, because when we sit in isolation by ourselves, trying to work it out by ourselves, trying to cobble it together, we don't know. I'm very fortunate that on the 4th of March, it's now sold out, we've got this small and intimate Oh What Shall I Share Day. I actually capped the numbers so that at that place we have the time to be able to look at our stories, look at our past, look at what content we can share. Not so that we're just sharing it and just pleasing Facebook by posting something every day, but we're sharing where we make an absolute difference. And underpinning that is our story. Underpinning that is how we articulate what we do in the world. Underpinning that is how we make a difference to people. So, some questions I'm going to leave you with. What led you to create what you created? Well, you know my story now. How did you discern it? How do you dissect it? How did you create your system? I know that there are a lot of entrepreneurs out there that know that they do a good job, know the result that they get, but don't know how to split it down as succinctly as that. And the last question is, I can't even read my own writing there. Have you ever wondered, like, think about the people you help, whether it's relationships, pain-free, reinventing themselves, 21 days to really creating a great income, having a web service system, helping them to be a creative business, helping to consult with them on a business level and looking at their risks. Have you ever wondered, not about the people that put their hand up with you and say, yep, I'm in, but about the people that for whatever reason they give you decide not to work with you? And I don't mean that from a place of, oh, I have a potential sale. Oh no, I've lost a potential sale or a lead. I don't mean that. Have you ever sat and wondered, like, I feel fortunate and blessed enough that through corporate UK, through financial services, a very male-dominated environment, I was able to rise through the ranks and do what I needed to do. I later on then went on to work with people in groups, in workshops, on one-to-one basis. I received a lovely message. I can't even read it because it's on my phone, but I received a lovely message from a client of mine that said, gosh, this seemed really difficult at first, but, now you've led the way, now you've helped me, I can see it's going to be so much easier, and this is exactly what I've needed. They wouldn't have known that when they first came in to work with me individually. The people that I often think about are the ones that say, I'm really, really frightened, so I don't think I can do this yet. Or I'm going to wait until my kids have gone to university. Or, you know what? I can't justify spending any money. Like 29 quid is the entry level to work with me, I can't really justify spending that money to do this. And the reason I think so much about those people is because they remain invisible, they remain frustrated, and they remain really unhappy. They don't get to live the lives that they want. They don't get to get their message out in the world in the way that they want. They have a lot of time that passes before they can show their true value into the world. That really upsets me. I have had to learn to live with doing this visibility stuff and getting my heart broken on a regular basis. Really, I have. I've had to learn that if someone says no, they say no. But it doesn't mean I forget about them. Every now and then I have these calls where I speak to people. We decide for whatever reason we're not a good fit to work together. But you know what? I can go back 2-3 years of people that decided not to go for it. And yet they're still hidden, they're still invisible, they're not making the impact that they want to make, they're still really frustrated, and they have given themselves a reason not to move forward. Those are the people that I resonate with. Who do you resonate with? So I hope this helps you to really start to dig deep and own your stories. Let me just have a look at the comments. So Ivona said, great live, Jenny, thank you. No, thank you, Ivona. I'm so looking forward to the 4th of March. So am I can't wait. France Lee says, amazing insights. This is the hardest bit for me. I don't know how to sell myself. Well, you're on the road to that. You're in amongst a lovely group of people, and you and I will continue a conversation on that in the work that we do together. So Ali says, Jenny, I have to say that I'm always surprised that people are happy to invest in clothes and material things, but they are not always willing to invest in themselves. Strange world. It's true. I remember one of the first times this happened when I just started my business. Somebody pleaded and begged with me. I was running an online course. It was how much was it? I think it was like £60 or something. It was a 6-week course. It was £60 for a 6-week course. And they kind of said to me, I'd really love to do it, but I just don't have any money. Very green around running a business. I said, okay, I tell you what, I'll kind of give you a scholarship on the course. I'll let you join the course. And this is a word to the wise. This is not just my experience. This is a word to the wise of helping people. So this lovely lady, I gave her a place on the course. First week, she didn't even turn up for the course. Second week, didn't turn up for the course. In fact, she never turned up for any of the live support. And then when I contacted her after week 3 to see if she's okay, she said, oh yeah, I'm fine. I'll catch up sometime, but I'm off on holiday to Turkey for 2 weeks. That would have been my face on the phone, because I was really stunned. I thought, so you know, you're saying that you can't afford the £60, but you're off on holiday to Turkey. So here's what I would say to that. If you are thinking about working with somebody, you feel for them, you want to help them, because I know that you're going to come from a place of help, and they're saying to you, you know what, I just don't have the money to do it. This includes all forms of brain picking. It's really not a healthy thing to do in your business. When you have a business, your business is there for you to make a profit, to be able to feed your children, pay your mortgage, you know, look after your health, take the time off, and all of that kind of thing. If you start getting into the habit early on of doing people favours, you know, it won't pay you back. You would have thought I'd learned my lesson from there. When somebody says, I can't do something, what we all really mean, myself included, is that I won't. So when someone says, I can't afford it, they're saying, I won't allow myself to afford it. And what you might actually need to help them with is the block behind that. It's a really, really important lesson. And people will say, oh, but you know, I do this thing and it's not just about the money. Nothing is more heartbreaking or disappointing than when you throw everything you've got for helping somebody who is in a position where they don't have the funds or even the motivation to be able to do the thing that they want to do. Nothing is more heartbreaking than you pouring your heart and soul into helping them. And here's another thing that's happened. They've gone, that's really great advice. I might do that. Or, since our last call, I was talking to one of my friends and my friends told me this, and I'm going to go with that. You know, I've had all of those experiences, and I've coached people who've gone through those experiences as well. So it's a really important thing to honour yourself, value yourself, honour your story, honour your path, and honour your business. Okay, so Beata says that's a lesson learnt then. Absolutely. But seriously, I will remember your lesson, no favours. It sounds a really harsh thing to do. If you're not in a business, then it doesn't matter. When you're being paid by an employee, you can get in your car and travel, you can do whatever you need to do. But when you're doing it for yourself, there's this exchange, not only in financial exchange, there's a motivation. So learn to live with getting your heart broken there. And then France Lee says, yes, Ali, me too. The reason for investing in clothing and makeup is because it gives me instant gratification. Ali says, Shah called it well today. She says something like, if you ask for my help, then why wouldn't you do what I say? Absolutely. And here's the thing, when somebody is not in relationship with you and not in connection with you, they will ask for your advice, but that's what you're giving them, advice. Take it or leave it. When somebody has paid for you, it doesn't matter how much. I'm not one of these charge £1 million type of coaches. When somebody has invested in you at their highest level, their skin in the game, they are committed. When somebody is trying to pick your brains, they just want to get your sense of opinion, but they will be picking other people's brains too. And it's likely that they're not going to take on board what you've said. Okay, it's an ugly truth. Namisha says, I remember the first time I met Jenny, and just listening to her helped me get over the block of not allowing me to afford it. I just closed my eyes, walked up to her and said, I want to work with you. I remember that moment. The rest is, well, beautiful. The rest is not even history. Namisha, you are a blessing. You felt the fear, you did it anyway, and look how you were like repaid on so many different levels. Look at the light you are in the world. You know, I've only got one business still and you've got 3. So I just think kudos to you, absolute kudos to you, Namish, and thank you for saying that. I really appreciate that. Francelise says, oh my God. Can I do that face, Francelise? And Ivona says, I'm with you on this, Jenny, absolutely. You know what, I've invested all sorts of ticket prices in my learning, and I've done it because I want to be a better version of myself. I want to be able to help the masses, and if I try and cobble it together on my own all the time, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. I've been feeling, and I'm going to share this with you because I'm always honest, I've been feeling really, really called to do some small group programs, not over a day or over 3 days, but over like a period of 6 months where you can really roll your sleeves up. We can get you articulating your value. We can get you really visible. We can get you making the impact you want to make. I can get you on the road to those high vibrational, I call them, sales conversations where you're having a juicy conversation with somebody and you're not charging pennies for what you do, but you're charging a decent amount of money that allows you to take your children on holiday, allows you to live a lifestyle that you want to live, allows you to help people exponentially, allows you to know what to send back when someone says, I'd like to interview you. And that allows you to know how to react when somebody says, do you know what? I've got this friend, they're quite well known and I need you to help them. You know what to charge them, what to say to them. And you also know how to identify when they're just out to pick your brains. This is one of the ways you will save your time, your money, your energy. So Ivona says, wow, Namisha, well done. Beata says, someone once picked my brains on the pretext of work coming up, and then I never heard from him. We talked for 3 hours. I told him all I knew and he just used it, not even a thank you. Well, I would say I hope that never happens to you again, but that's what I want to start sharing with people in like a 6-month container almost, where you are able to have the sorts of discerning conversations. Like, I can spot brain pickers a mile off. My lesson is knowing when to say, okay, stop, because you're picking my brains. But because of the way that I ask people things, I can normally spot when they are picking my brains. So Francelise says, love it. Love that you do that face so well. Yeah, it's a bit scary, isn't it? Namisha says, thanks, Ivona. And Ivona says, what an experience, Beata. It happens all the time. It absolutely does. And talking of time, I don't know if you've got any questions, anything you want to ask. If not, I will wrap this bad boy up and leave you to have an enjoyable evening in the UK, leave you to have an enjoyable lunch or late lunch in certain parts of America, and leave you to have the rest of your mid-morning stack or prepare for your lunch in other parts of the world too. Thank you so much for joining me. What I'd really love to know is this one final thing. What's the one thing that you're going to start doing? Oh no, in fact, stop doing as a result of anything that I've shared with you this evening. Pop it on my wall, let me know, pop it in a comment below. I'd love to see what that is. And as soon as I've hung up from here, I'm going to go over in the Visibility Vibes Tribe group and catch up on everything that's been buzzing and pinging since we've been on here. Thank you so much. Ali says, thanks, Jenny. Thanks. I will speak to you in the morning. Thank you, says Beata. You're most welcome. Thank you, Namisha. Get yourself in the Visibility Vibe Tribe, Namisha. Let people know how awesome you are. You're too good a person to be kept as a hidden secret. So Lamisha says, love you, Jenny. All the love my heart can hold. So thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing some of you at the Q&A Wednesday at 10 o'clock in the Visibility Vibe Tribe tomorrow morning. So if you've got questions, come and write them down, come and rack them up. And if not, then I will see you back here tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. UK time, 11 a.m. PST I think it is, and 2 p.m. EDT, something like that. See you. Bye for now.